I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Logic Before Authority channel, and I greatly appreciate y'all guys joining me today. The title of the video today is When I Was a Little Boy. We're going to have we're just going to reminisce a little bit, and we're going to discuss when I was a little boy. You could say it's going to be somewhat testimonial. You could, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like I want to talk about when I was a little boy. And see y'all guys starting to come in. I'm a little earlier than I normally am. I'm actually on schedule, which is, somewhat unusual for me. And I see the Roxy Files is in the house. Old trusty Roxy Files. And I'm assuming some more people are going to pop up here in a few minutes. I don't have no dramatic title or dramatic thumbnail. So, it's not going to attract as much attention. But that's okay. That's okay. Today is just going to be a discussion about when I was a little boy. And I'm glad to have y'all guys here. Those of you that decide to join in. Yep. I see you there. And so, let's see. Let's see if I can make this bigger. What do you know? I can make it a little bigger. So I've got the chat popped out. It actually worked. Roxy, can you give me another chat message and see if it automatically updates? I'm assuming it will. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, is when I was a little boy. We're going to reminisce. I'm going to take you and I'm going to show you some areas. I'm going to show you where I grew up. I'm going to talk to you about my childhood. There we go. I see it's popping up automatically. Excellent. So I've got y'all guys in the chat here with me. And I'm going to do my best when I'm talking about my childhood not to cry. Because It's already choking me up just a little bit, to be honest with you. What's up, Enoch777? Good to see you here. And we're going to get started here in just a minute with this. But first, I've got a little video that's part of an announcement that I'm making today. Something I'm doing this month, and I want to share it with y'all guys. And, well, I'll explain it after I show you this little video. So take a look at this. So just a quick message there, okay? And Sim, I'm sorry you don't remember your childhood. And I don't remember it like, for instance, Roxy, she remembers my childhood. She can tell you what color shirt you were wearing and details like that I cannot remember. But we're going to try. I'm going to bring this down here for just a moment here. And I'm going to explain what the Supernatural Show October Superthon is a little bit. It is a step out in faith to raise funds to do a number of things. Okay. One, there's a whole list of things, and I'll ultimately go through all of them. But the fundraiser is going to benefit everybody on the team. And I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm asking for y'all guys' support, because it's a goal that is easily achievable. Back when the Plan Demonic first started out, I did a fundraiser and I raised $20,000. And it was called Brother Helping Brother fundraiser. And what I did was I gave that $20,000 away to a bunch of different people that contacted me and that were in need of some help at that time. A lot of people were in places they didn't want to be. A lot of people were scared. And so I raised the money and I gave it away. All of it. Plus, I gave away $1,000 of my own money, so it was actually right at about $21,000. This fundraiser is going to benefit everybody on the team. And there's some things I have to take care of in my own life. One example, I have to pay the taxes on this house here in the next 30 days. Has to be done in the next 30 days. And I haven't been able to have that extra. I've come really close, but something reaches in and snatches it out of my teeth. I even had someone donate enough that would be close enough to do it, but the lights were being cut out. They cut off the internet and all these things, And I'm not complaining, because I'm very fortunate, because I literally live and am able to function because of y'all guys, of people's kindness. That's how the Supernatural Show and all of this works. because of y'all guys. So I don't work a normal job. I haven't in like 15, 16 years. I've been a YouTuber for 15 years. And the first 5 years or so, I never asked for a single donation. I never monetized my channel. I never did anything. And I was homeless. I was still very fortunate because I've never been homeless, like you say, like having to live in the woods. There's always been someone there to give me a place to sleep, something to eat, these kinds of things. I have really nothing to complain about. However, I do have to raise some funds to take care of, for instance, the taxes on this house. Another thing is my teeth. I have some dental work. I've put it off so long that I can't do it anymore. And I'm asking y'all guys, because I have 100,000 subscribers just on Logic Before Authority, over 100. And let's imagine each person donated $1. Well, that's $100,000. I realize, unfortunately, that is not how it's going to play out. It's going to play out in a different way. And it's going to play out how Father chooses to put it upon your hearts to help me raise these funds. Another thing I need is a new PC to run this studio with. When I have the whole team here, and when I have a lot of more going than I have right now, like all the cameras and everything, I'm maxing out my PC to the point that I'm scared it's going to crash. A new PC, because this one's about, I don't know exactly, to be honest, how old it is, but it's probably like 4 or 5 years old, somewhere in there, which it works, and it does a really good job. But I need a faster PC that's set up and designed to run a studio. And it's going to cost around $2,000 to make that happen, just for the PC. And I probably need $2,000 put in my mouth to fix some problems I've got. And it's not from not brushing my teeth or these kind of things. It's from being radiated by a dentist, for one thing. I went to a dentist some years ago, a few years back, because my front teeth, when I was a child, speaking of my childhood, which we're going to be focusing on today, I had an accident. Me and Roxy were playing, and she had a motorcycle helmet on her head, and it fell off of her head and whopped me in the mouth and fractured the teeth across the front of my mouth. It actually chipped off one part and fractured the rest. I got it fixed temporarily, but then that, at my age now, after I went to a dentist a couple of years ago that I wish I'd never went to, because he gave me about 20 x-rays. If you go in there to a dentist's office and you better ask up front, how many x-rays is this? Because what they're doing is destroying your teeth. And I still have sometimes like a childlike faith in some people and some things. But unfortunately, I've had to learn that you cannot just have faith in things, because there are people that are fulfilling jobs out there, like doctors, pharmacists, scientists, dentists, that are told to follow this certain program. It's required by the dental association or whatever it is. And if they don't do it, they get in trouble. Well, after they gave me the 20 x-rays on my teeth were fine except for the fractured ones in the front. All my teeth have literally just started, they just shattered my teeth is what they did. It's affecting my speech. And my voice is a very important thing to me, as you can imagine, because it's what I use as my weapon to fight against the things that are going on in this world and trying to bring it to people's attention as well as also educate. So I decided to step out in faith and do the October Superthon, where I will be live. I'm going to push myself to a limit that I've never done before. I'm going to be live 31 days straight. No, not 24 hours a day, but I'm going to go live 31 days straight. Some of it will be in the format of the Supernatural Show. Some of it will be as Logic Before Authority. And I may even be on like Roxy's show. But I will be live, and we will be on Logic Before Authority here, okay? Or I may be on Shannon's show. But I will be live 31 days straight. And if you've never done this kind of thing, it is a challenge to do 3 shows a week. Think about having to prepare the content, do the research, do the editing of the videos. I mean, just the little promo video that you've seen just a moment ago. This one here. As soon as I can find it. This one. How long do you think it takes to edit that? It's hours for that one little piece. And not to mention the years of having to learn how to do it. So I'm fast now, but it still takes time. And it takes time and effort for everything I do. And just to do 3 days a week live is a challenge. On the website, and now we're going to get to my story of when I was a little boy. But real quick, on the website, if you go to the website now, it's been updated. If you don't see this image, you need to refresh your screen, okay? Because sometimes your computer or phone will cache the last page you've seen and keep it that way. But if you don't see this image kind of at the top, refresh your screen. But if you click on this image, it'll take you to a page that gives you all the different, and I've got every way possible about that you can help me fulfill this goal. And I'm asking each and every one of you to please help me. And you may say, well, I can't donate, much. Or how's my dollar going to help? Again, I've built 100,000 subscribers while swimming upstream, being shadow banned and everything they can do to shut me up. They've terminated my channel 4 times, and yet I still built it. I resisted, and I continue to resist. 100,000 people, even 1,000 people could do this easy. Easy, like nothing. But your $1 donation is going to make a difference. So I'm asking each and every one of you that have enjoyed my work for years, to this one time, I'm asking you to step up for me so that I can take care of my taxes on my house, my teeth, get a computer to go in the office, and do some things for the other people that help out with this show as well, because they don't get paid. Nobody here gets paid. I just literally only survive off of y'all guys' generosity and kindness. And I don't like asking for help, but if you think about it, I provide a service. If you realize the truth of it, I provide a service. Knowledge. I help you understand things. I bring things to you. I show you the truth about things. And all this is coming from the glory of God. Father has given me the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and has given me the task of doing this. And I don't have a choice. I have to do this. And I can't stop. This is my life. If I stopped this, I would die. So please contribute. All right, now let's bring up something here. Oh, here's on the website where you can see the Superthon, October Superthon link is right there. And you go there and there's every option possible. And I'm going to keep a tally and let y'all guys know every show how much has been raised. Okay? And I may build a page that does that automatically, but because the sources of the donations will be coming from different methods, it'll be a little bit hard to keep up with, but I can keep up with what the total is pretty easy, obviously. All right, let's go to Google Earth. I'm going to show you where I grew up at. And then we're going to talk about it. Okay, let's see. Google Earth. All right. I just want to explore the Earth. Okay. Let's make this as big as I can. I want to get out of this, whatever I'm in. Okay. I grew up in a little town in South Carolina. It's a small town called Conway, South Carolina. I was born in the 21st of January, 1969. There's South Carolina, of course, North Carolina. And like I say, I grew up in Conway, which is very close to, as you can see, Myrtle Beach. Conway's right here, Myrtle Beach right here. So as a teenager, which I'll ultimately get to, went to the beach a lot, obviously, probably, which I did. All the pretty girls were down there. But for today, we're going to look at Conway. Okay. Here we are in Conway. And let's zoom on down here and come out to where I grew up at in the area called Homewood. Okay. This is Homewood. And let's see here. Where is my turn off at? I think it's right here. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So obviously this is an area I'm very familiar with because I grew up here. Let's see here. Where are we at? Not quite. Or maybe I'm going a little too far down the road. I think I did. No. Back out here. Let's see. Oh, sorry guys. I just got to get my orientation here as to where I'm at and why. Is this it right here? Might be. Let me use this little man down here and see if it shows me a road going off to the side right here. What is this? Let me take a look. Aha. And don't tell me that Google has not been down my road. This is the little road that I grew up in. It's now called Hollywood Lane. I have no idea why. This is a little store. A family called the Cluises used to own this store. And when I was a little boy, the bus would pick me up right here at this spot at the end of this little road. This was a dirt road. They've since paved it, but it was a dirt road. And I would walk from the end of it down yonder way at the end, and I'd walk all the way out here, even at the age of, as soon as they started putting me on the bus, which was at the age of about 6 years old, I'd walk out here and wait on the bus. Or I'd come out a few minutes early and I would go in the store and hang out with the Cluis family, which would be there, especially when I was young, very young. They would be in the store, and it's a very small little store, as you can see. And they would be making hot dogs or doing whatever. And when I grew up, like a lot of you, I'm sure, and many of us even still, we were very poor. And I would come out to the store sometimes and hang out. And every now and then, Mr. Cluis would decide he was feeling generous and he would give me a hot dog. Man, I thought that was the best thing ever. Other times, me and Roxy, we would, because she was over here a lot, and we'd go along in these ditches, the ditches down the side of the road here and on the other side of the road. And we'd walk around this whole circle. It actually goes around in a circle and comes out a little bit further down the road. And we would pick up bottles, find bottles. Back then, there was Coke bottles and Pepsi bottles. And if you turned them in, you got a nickel. You remember this? Some of you might be too young to remember that. But people, they'd be riding down the road and they'd chunk the bottles out in ditches. Back then, people were really bad about throwing trash out and bottles and all that kind of stuff. I would imagine that right now in the ditches of this county, this whole county, there are just literally enormous amounts of bottles that are down in that mud. And in the edges of the woods, on the sides of the road, because it wasn't always something that was thrown in a ditch. A lot of times it was thrown, past the ditch. And those bottles are still there. They're everywhere up and down these roads. Let's go down here and look at the old sign. I wonder what it says here. Oh, it even still says it. Cluis. Yep. Cluis. And on down here a little further, a lot of these places weren't here when I was growing up. Like this house, that wasn't there, of course. And I'm really not liking the fact that they didn't go down this road and film, Google in their car riding around. Why wouldn't they? Now this right here, you can see this is called Dunlap Circle. Highway 65 and Dunlap Circle. This road here loops around and connects with the other road around there. And when I was about 6 years old, we moved down in there. Actually more like about 4 or 5 years old. And, when you're that age and you're new in the neighborhood, you go out and ultimately you end up meeting the other kids in the neighborhood. And there were 2 boys and 2 girls that lived with a black family that lived right down there where you can kind of see where that machinery's there for whatever reason when they took this photo. But they lived on the left right there. And their family still lives there. And they lived in a house that was pretty good size, but it was really old. Even back then, it was really old. And, but I lived on past them on around the loop around here. Let me see if I can back out here where let me take you back there a little bit and show you. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So right here is where the old house used to be, right on this curve right here. Let's see if I can flatten this out. Yeah. And again, this was dirt road. And this come around this curve here and come to right here, and there's a road right here that goes back out here to the store. See the road there on the left? It goes back all the way out to the little Cluis store. There's the little Cluis store right there. And right here's where I would walk out to meet the bus when I was a child. And so I walk all the way down here, and there were a few houses along coming down to where we were at, and to about right here. And then there's this intersection here, and this road that you can't see because of the trees goes on a little further down. Okay. Matter of fact, it goes back to here where it runs into the swamp, and it dead ends right here. These swamps, I've spent a lot of time in this Greer swamp area back here, all out in these woods when I was a child. You got up in the morning time, you got breakfast, maybe if you had some, and, the parents told you, go outside and play. Well, outside didn't mean the yard. It meant anywhere you could go. You jump on your little bicycle if somebody hadn't stole it, and you just, or worst case, just start walking. But first, when I got down there, I met the Dunlaps. Remember, this house around the curve right here was called the Dunlaps. They were the Dunlaps. And this was all a dirt road. And when I was about 6 or so, I started venturing out a little bit down this dirt road, just a little bit. And when I was a kid, it seemed like this was for miles around this corner right here. Me and Roxy drove it recently, maybe a month ago, and it just ain't the same in many ways, including how big it looked when we were kids. Nothing is as big as, it's like it's tiny now. Everything's shrunk. But we lived right basically where you see what it looks like a house here, in a little single wide trailer that was in this yard. And I'd venture out down this dirt road, about 5 or 6 years old, and started venturing down here. And there come a day when I got down here far enough, and the Dunlap boys seen me out there. And at first, the way it started out was they weren't sure if they liked me. I was a little white boy in their neighborhood. And I don't know who started it, but we ended up starting to throw dirt clogs at each other. So we'd have literal dirt clog fights. And, which is all fun and games until somebody gets hit in the eye with a dirt clog, which did happen a number of times. And then especially Corey, there was Corey and there was Craig. And they had two sisters, Bernice and Lisa. And like I say, they lived right here. But eventually, me and Corey decided we liked each other. And then we were like all the time together, getting in trouble, stealing bottles from places we shouldn't have been taking them. We'd run out of bottles in the ditches, and we'd see them stacked up somewhere, and we'd be like, well, they ain't gonna miss 5 or so. When you're a kid, you gotta start reasoning things. And then we switched from battling with dirt clogs. We would, every once in a while, we'd get our hands on some bottle rockets. Like the Cluises out there, they'd have a little bit of fireworks around the 4th of July, and we would pick up some bottles, find some bottles, get on our bikes and run the roads and go find bottles, and we'd take those bottles and turn them in and get some bottle rockets, because our currency back then was bottles. We didn't have no money. Mama wasn't giving me no money. She didn't have it to give. Bless her heart. I love her. And I miss her. Look forward to seeing her again one day. So our currency was bottles. And so anything we wanted, well, we had to go find bottles to get it. Roxy knows what I'm talking about. And so we'd get bottles and we'd get bottle rockets, and we'd have bottle rocket battles down this dirt road backwards and forth. And that was all fun and games until one of them blew up in your hand. Like you light it, and it wasn't creative or good enough to just shoot it from a bottle. We started getting brave and decided we'll light it in our hand because it's on the little stick, those old inexpensive little bottle rockets. And we'd light it, holding it, and throw it. Like throw it underhanded, like, and then it'd go. And that was all fun and games until either one blew up in your hand, or it somehow magically found its destination and blew up right in front of you. The other person's sending it your way, and it just actually flies and hits you. And then boom. And then what's really bad is women get her hands on some of the bigger bottle rockets or Roman candles. I remember one time me and Corey set ourselves on fire with the Roman candles, set her clothes on fire. Had to yank her clothes off about naked because we done shot each other with Roman candles. I wouldn't recommend that. It burns pretty rough. I remember one time too, this little cutoff right here. Yeah, who's calling me? Can't take that phone call right now. I want to, but I can't. I'll call him back in a minute. So, this little cutoff road right here, there was a house that this is another little dirt road right over here. There was a house that sit right here where these trees are at. And I ain't proud of what I'm getting ready to tell you, but it's just when I was a little boy. Me and Corey, we came down here. There was a guy that lived over here. His name was Hashim. And he was a jerk. And he never liked nobody. And he was just mean to us all the time. And so me and Corey, we decided we're going to get it even with him. You know, we're talking like 8-year-olds here, or 10-year-olds maybe. And there was an old car that was sitting over here, and how this was getting even with Hashim, or whatever his name was, I'm not exactly sure, because this wasn't Hashim's car, but it belonged to the house. There were, right down in this dirt road, there was a lot of rock that had been poured out. Rock, pretty good size, real good for size rocks for throwing and doing some damage. So we went down here and we picked up a bunch of rocks, and there was nobody around. And that poor, I think it was a Pinto, sitting on blocks, but it had a windshield in it. Or, well, it used to have a windshield, because we gathered up these rocks and we didn't go in the yard, but from the edge of this road here, we started casting these nice sized rocks over there and beat the windshield out of this car. I ain't saying I'm proud of this, but it was one of those dumb, childish things you did. And there was nobody home, or at least we thought. All of a sudden, we hear somebody yell, "Hey, hey, hey." And we hear this. We take off running back down this dirt road. And we get to here, and Corey, he lives right here. So all he had to do was run over here and run in his yard. Me, I lived back down this way. But when we get to here, Corey turns and goes towards my house. That way. Me, I turned and went the other way. Away from my house. Running past his house. And I ran down here. This was all woods. This trailer wasn't here then. I ran down to about right here where this trailer is actually at now. It was all woods, and I jumped and ran in the woods and jumped down and hid behind some trees and stuff. And Corey, he was busy running towards my house. So we ran the opposite direction away from each other's houses, you know, so we wouldn't lead the whoever was coming after us to us. So then the man that lived in the house, he came down through here. He come all the way down to the end of the road, looking around. He walked back, and I'm in the woods hiding. He walked back and went back home. And me and Corey, we were sweating bullets. Finally, I decided to come out and go over to the Cluis's store and waited out at the store. Okay. And Corey, he decided, right here's the Cluis's store. This little teeny building, of course. I came to the store to wait it out. And Corey ended up showing up at the store. And we were like talking about it, you know, we don't hope we don't get in trouble and blah, blah, blah. Well, we ended up getting in trouble. I had an older brother. He's about 5 years older. And, well, not saying it was right or wrong, but he narked us out. And so my older brother told on us and got us in trouble. So I can't remember exactly what the punishment was, but it wasn't that bad because it didn't leave a terrible memory of what the punishment was, right? Because when the punishment is bad enough when you're a child, it tends to stick in your head. And that's, looking back, that's kind of the reason why we got spankings. The reason why you would get a spanking is not to hurt you, but was to make you remember. It was literally to traumatize you enough, because that's one of the things that in our life we remember is very traumatic situations. So getting your butt cut can be one of those things, So that's the rock throwing caper. There was another incident. There was a lot of them. Me and the whole neighborhood of kids used to go out here in this field right here. It was a cow pasture, and we would play baseball, football. Most of the time out here in the cow pasture, it was baseball. And you just have to avoid the cow patties, because there'd be quite a bit of them, big round splotches of what. But we'd play out here all the time. But there was something bad that happened when I was a kid. Like I say, we lived here, but there come a point when we moved and we actually lived right here where this little trailer's at. I wouldn't think it's the same one, but either way, we lived there. And I had a dog. His name was Rowdy. He was a Siberian Husky. Got him as a puppy, and he back then your dogs, they run all the way everywhere. And normally everything was fine, because the dog knew where home was, and he stayed near home most of the time, unless they went out chasing girls. That gets a lot of things in trouble. Chasing girls, or girls chasing boys. But like I said, this was a cow pasture over here. And there was a man that rented this field from the owner. The owner was Miss Eileen. She lived up at the beginning of the pasture up here. She lived right there in that house. And she used to cut my hair, and I used to chop down all of her high weeds and stuff along her fences. And she would give me a little bit of money and also cut my hair for me. Miss Eileen, she was a nice lady. And I got to remember to tell you the story, too, about me having to run through this field here and run to her back door asking her for help, too. I'll come to that here in a minute. But this back pasture was rented from her for a man to put some Brahma cows in. Brahma bulls. Big, huge bulls. Especially me as a child, they looked like monsters. And like I say, I'm living back here, and I'm outside playing in the yard somewhere there, and then I hear a gunshot. And I'm on the dirt road, I can remember, it down to here. And I started coming down this way, and I could see coming across the field, running across this field, I could see my dog, Rowdy, running after hearing a gunshot. And so as I seen him running after the gunshot, I started running down here towards where he was headed to. And he come as fast as he could, and he come across this fence that keeps the cows in here, and he ran right in the middle of the road right here, and he fell, and he died. The man had shot him, and he died right there on the spot. And I don't know exactly how old I was. Somewhere around 10 or 12, somewhere in there. But I ran back to the house because I had a pellet gun, one of those ones that had the pumps on them. The more you pumped it up, the stronger the BB or the pellet would be in it. And I was a little boy, but I was mad. Man done killed my dog. So I ran back to the house here, this little trailer, and I went inside. I grabbed my pellet gun, jumped on my bicycle, and off down this dirt road I went. And as I come close down into this area here, the men were over here at this barn. There was a couple of pickup trucks, and you could see them out there as I'm coming down. And as I'm coming by with my bicycle right through this area, because I'm figuring I got to go around and cut them off down there. I got to cut them off, come down this road and over across here and catch them back over here. That was my plan. But when I was right here, coming by on my bicycle, I started lobbing shots across at them with my pump BB gun. And apparently this got their attention pretty good because they jumped in their truck. I guess I should have held off on the shooting to start with, but I didn't. As I'm coming by on my bicycle, riding with no hands, pumping the BB gun and shooting it. Yeah, riding with no hands back in the day. And they jump in their pickup truck and start heading out of here. And I'm pedaling as hard as I can to get down here to the end of the road, so that way I can turn and come down here and catch them. And I ended up, I was probably about in this area here. There's the field for you. There's the old barn back there where they were at, where they shot my dog from. And he ran across that back field back there. But I was about right here. That's Miss Eileen's house. When they come out the driveway that's on the side of the house that goes back to the barn, which is that little round circle there, went also beside the house. And they were coming out, and I'm coming on my bicycle down this lane. And I start lobbing shots at them. And they turn this corner and with the back of the truck towards me. And apparently I got lucky because the back window busted on the truck. And they just took off and kept going. And I went to Miss Eileen here, and I was crying, and I told her what they had done. It killed my dog. And I don't really know what she ever did about it, to be honest with you. You know, what could she do? Maybe tell him to move his bulls, but then cost her, money. But yeah, talking about something that sticks in your mind that's traumatic, like getting a spanking or getting in trouble for throwing rocks at a old junk car and busting the window out of it. Trauma sticking in your mind. This whole area down here, growing up, I spent a lot of time, obviously many years here, walking up and down this dirt road, probably thousands of times. Well, I'm sure it was thousands of times, catching the bus right here. I remember one year, talking about traumatic things sticking in your head, and that's really the memories that I'm mostly telling you about. I remember one Christmas, I got a new bicycle for Christmas, which was very rare. Oh, and there used to be gas pumps right here too. They had 2 gas pumps, the old style ones, right here. And I got a new bicycle for Christmas and decided to do something dumb and ride it down here to meet the bus. And what I did was I left my bicycle right here on the side of the store. This was bathrooms, male and female bathrooms, right? And I decided to, because I'd done it before with my other bicycle that I had that wasn't new. It was just an old one that we got somehow. But I got this new one and I left it behind the bathroom right here. And, the Cluelesses, they knew I did that. And they didn't care. They didn't say nothing about it. But when I come home from school, my bicycle was gone. So I only had a new bicycle for like a couple of days. The only new one I ever got. Ain't that awful? And, so just one of those memories of when you're a little boy. And I'll tell you about another situation that's, it's in my mind, in my memories. So I'm going to share it with you. Right down here, just down the street a little bit, there's a graveyard and a church. And Corey and his family, they went to this church. And they had this graveyard here right beside it. And me and Corey, we'd get in trouble sometimes. And what we did was we went out here and hid behind, matter of fact, I think we hid behind those headstones right there. Those 2 headstones that are right here by the road. We hid behind them and we had water balloons. And we were right here by the edge of the road. Can you guess what happened next? So we would wait on a car to come, and car would come by and we would jump up and chunk a water balloon to try to hit the cars. And most of the time we missed. It would burst when you would throw it, or, something you would just miss. But I remember we finally got our aim down, and this car was coming from this direction here. And he's coming along here, and me and Corey go to chunking. And this one water balloon landed right on his windshield. Doosh. And he locked the tires up. And he slid. He was probably doing 50 miles an hour. He slid all the way down to this area. Just past the edge of the bushes, which was our signal to hit the road, Jack. So we took off running and ran into the woods back here behind the cemetery and kept right on running. And but luckily, we didn't get hurt. He didn't get hurt. There was no damage, other than it probably scared him a little bit. We shouldn't have been doing it. But, it's those things you do sometimes when you're a little boy. You're kind of learning what the rules are of life, and you're learning what the limitations are, and you push on them sometimes. And hopefully you just live through it. And over the years, especially as I got bigger, I would venture out to larger areas on my bicycle. If I can get this to back out like it's supposed to. Like this shows like a neighborhood here. Of course, this was all woods. I used to come down to this turn right here. And there's a ditch right there. This house wasn't there. None of these were there, and this was all woods. And there was a hill, a ditch bank that ran along the edge of this ditch right here. And it was perfect for like riding your bicycle up and down. And the reason why I remember this particular situation, let me see if the little man imagery is there. Yeah. Well, the hills are gone, and they've built a house there now. But right here beside this house, all the way down, it was hills going up and down beside this ditch here. And we'd go over there and we'd ride our bicycles on it. And I remember one time we were down here doing this, and my chain came off my bicycle while I was riding up and down these hills, and I was kind of going fast. And when the chain came off, my foot slipped, and the sprocket, that your chain normally is on, I didn't have no sprocket guard because it's just an old bicycle that barely worked. And I hit my foot and leg on it and cut myself pretty good. And I can just remember it was bleeding pretty bad. And I can remember taking off out of there, and I had to ride back home. Back home was over here. I had to ride back home using one pedal and one foot to get back to the house. But I did. None of this stuff was here back in the day. I remember another time when there were some guys who decided they wanted to drag race and ended up getting in a wreck down here and flipping their cars. And that was kind of traumatic when I was a kid, and leaves a memory in your mind. Car caught on fire, and all the adults were all freaked out, and they telling you to stay in the car, but you can see a car flipped over there. It's on fire and all this kind of stuff. But just all kinds of things. Looks like they've developed all of this now. Matter of fact, it's even more than this now. Me and Roxy took a ride the other day over in this area and some other areas, and it's just nothing's the same anymore. And really, in many ways in life, nothing's the same anymore, is it? We all kind of grew up in this fantasy of what life was. And we all believed that the doctors were good. We all believed that politicians were actually working for us. We all believed. But we were all wrong. We were all being fooled. They were never for us. Yes, there maybe was a time when a doctor really was a doctor and it really did help people. But that was when they were gaining our trust. It's called the white horse in the Bible. The white horse of the four horses. He comes out white and then ends up turning red with the second horse. He has blood on him because he's used that trust, gained the trust of the people, and turned against the people. So it's like almost another life looking back. And I do miss it. I do miss it. And I guess I'm not going to keep y'all guys too much more today because my neighbor is calling me over and over for some reason. So I think I might have an idea what it is, so I might need to talk to him. But I guess I just wanted to kind of share with y'all guys, where I kind of grew up at and what it was like a little bit. And, like I say, we were dirt poor. Next time when I come back to this, I'm going to pick up kind of more in my teenage years and to tell you about that, teenage years. And we'll show you, though, before we go, right here. Of course, it doesn't look like this. This is the elementary school. It was called Homewood Elementary, but it was built right across here. It was just a long red brick building, and this is where I went to elementary school at. And this back here was the playground in the back where we played kickball and all of that kind of stuff as a child, believing we were being educated properly. And it, too, was a deception. Rockefeller education system. It is truly amazing to look back and somehow try to figure out how not to be angry. At least for me, it is. I'm not a angry kind of person that likes being angry or likes chaos or trauma or any of these things. But it happens. So, anyways, I don't know all the purposes of what this was for today exactly. Maybe it'll come to me later. But I'm going to share more about my life growing up in some upcoming videos because, as I told you, I'm going to be doing 31 days this whole month, the whole month of October, 31 days of live. Every day I'll be live. And I hope y'all guys will join me in supporting the fundraiser I'm trying to do. I'm asking you kindly that I need to fix my teeth. I need to pay the taxes on the house. And I have 2 leaks in my roof. And I do need a new studio PC. Help me improve quality of how I am doing Father's work and providing the services that I normally provide to y'all guys. Because y'all guys are the only way this is going to work. So I pray that Father puts it upon your heart to just do something. Don't mean you have to do much. Just do something to support my work and the work of everyone involved with my work. With that, I'm going to let y'all guys go. I love you, and we'll see you next time on Logic Before Authority.
One that can see.
Logic before authority.